everyone and welcome to my booktube channel. My name is Sarah and today I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free review of Soundless by Richelle Mead. This book follows a girl by the name of Faye who lives very high up in the mountains in a village full of people who are all deaf. This village consists mostly of artists and miners. The artists are in charge of documenting everything that goes on within the village, making sure the information is passed down through the generations. And the miners are tasked with mining as many jewels as they can and sending them down the line to the people at the bottom of the mountain, who in turn send up rations of food. Our main character, Faye, is an artist and she is very happy with her position. It keeps her and her sister fed and homed. But the miners' jobs are getting more and more difficult, especially as people in their village who are already deaf begin to go blind as well. The first thing I thought when I heard the premise of this book is, that's risky. Because you're following a village of deaf people, they do communicate through sign language, and I wasn't sure how the author was going to portray that while still keeping me interested, but I think Richelle Mead really did well with that. I'd never read anything by this author before, but everybody loves Vampire Academy, so I thought that I would give this book a try. The writing style wasn't bad. I didn't necessarily love it because I do prefer a more lyrical, fluid writing style, but this one was just fine. As for the setting, I really liked it. I think this is something that we don't see very often, in the YA genre at least, and so I found the whole Chinese folklore aspect and the history of everything that was going on very interesting. As for the romance, I wasn't entirely sure about it. It felt a little bit like insta-love. It's always an interesting aspect when the two people that are in the process of falling in love have already had a past with one another, and I think that it's a delicate line to walk. And while they were both good-looking and talented people in their own way, I'm not sure necessarily that they would have enough in common to keep that connection going, so I wasn't a huge fan of the romance in that way. The thing that was most interesting about this book for me personally was the mystery that surrounded the whole thing. The town is very secluded and these people feel very secluded and they are very alone in the struggles that they deal with. And you don't know anything about the people below and you don't really trust them, and so that whole relationship between villages are very intense, but also you don't really know what's going on down there. Obviously there has to be people down there because they are sending food, but they are very cruel and selfish in the amount of food that they are sending, but on the other hand you're not sure if they are also poor, in which case it's not their fault. Getting to see Faye's perspective as she learns more about the world around her was very interesting. I also really love getting to see stories told from the perspective of artists. Since I for one cannot draw to save my life, I always think that it's very interesting to see from the point of view of someone who sees everything so vibrantly and so beautifully. This book was marketed as a fantasy novel and I have to disagree, mostly because the fantasy elements in this novel don't come into play until the last 40 pages, and the whole time I kept expecting more fantasy elements to pop up, but they really didn't until the very end. So that was a bit off-putting, as well as the fact that the first half of the book was pretty slow, and while I realized that some books are more character-driven, I just wasn't personally very fond of the characters, and so it didn't really make up for that. I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I would have given it more close to 2 stars if not for the last 50 pages or so, because I really enjoyed the last 50. But everything before that was just a little meh. Overall, I did enjoy the fantasy elements and the storyline and the atmosphere, and I would definitely be willing to pick up any more of Richelle Mead's books. But for me personally, this one just wasn't fantastic. If you guys have read this book, you should let me know down below in the comments what you thought of it, because I'm interested to see what you guys thought of it. Well, that is it for now. I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you are new here. But most of all, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video, and I will see you in my next one. Goodbye!